This is KNX In Depth. I'm Mike Simpson.
And I'm Charles Feldman. Well, how should we put this? Americans are getting bigger, not taller, but bigger.
They're wearing winter coats that are large.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
That's the thing.
Yes, we're getting weight challenged.
Oh, it's not the coats.
No, it's not the coats. We're getting, in volume, bigger. And because of that, it may present some issues with airplanes. You know, those things that have to get off the ground, and weight is important. So the FAA and airlines are preparing to do a passenger weight survey to update aircraft load calculations. So we will put this all on the scale and weigh in as we go in depth. Oh, if you've been trying to buy a new car recently, you are well aware that the semiconductor chip shortage is worsening, and that means delays for new cars, well, growing a lot longer. And then we will head to Texas, where abortion rights are about to be whittled down to, well, almost nothing.
Santa Clara County, up in the Bay Area, taking a pretty hard line when it comes to vaccine verification. They are requiring employers to go and determine the vaccination status of their employees. Here in L.A. County, racial disparities in the vaccination rates, they persist. Why are Black and Latino residents still far less likely to have even one of the doses? And then in New York, the prosecutor looking into the Trump Organization says it is now a criminal investigation.
But let's begin with jumping on a scale. Everyone is probably going, wow, that sounds like fun.
This is going to go over so well.
Yeah. At your local airport, Michael Dreikorn is principal partner in the aviation security firm ASD Experts, formerly served as deputy manager of the airworthiness division of the FAA. Michael, thanks for being with us.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Pleasure to be here.
So this does sound like a wonderful outing at the airport, ready to get on the plane, and somebody might come up to you and say exactly what?
Well, it's a long time coming, actually, but yeah, jump on the scale. We want to get your weight so we can measure whether or not our weight and balance is correct.
And tell us why they have to do that. Explain this to people. We get that weight's important to get the thing off the ground, but what are they looking at when they do this sort of thing?
Yeah, so this is really more critical on the smaller regional jets. Those that have flown on regional jets are probably accustomed to having a weight survey done, not necessarily jumping on the scales, but being eyed up and told to move from one seat to another. Because airplanes are kind of critical about the weight that they carry. But the reality is that not only Americans, but the world is getting heavier, and the certification regulations for most aircraft are based on criteria that are back in the 60s. And so airplane seats are not built for the big butts of today, and the weight and balance is a little bit off.
So now, as I understand it, this is not going to be, at least yet, mandatory, right? They're going to go down the line and say, can we take your weight? But if you say, no way, they move on to the next person?
Yeah, the whole program is still voluntary. It's being proposed through an advisory circular, which is guidance material to the industry, which is the airlines. The only one that's going to be required to do anything on this will be the certificate holder, which is the airline. Passengers still have a passenger bill of rights. We still have other rights. But it's certainly going to put gate agents and flight crew in a little bit of a precarious position, because now they're going to, on top of all the other things that they've been enforcing in the last couple of years, they're going to have to be doing a survey too.
Yeah, long list of stuff. Are they just looking to update like their averages, and this is just they're going to get random people to try and see what the end result is?
And yeah, and really this is way overdue. This should have been done decades ago. The weight that most aircraft are certificated for is way off the reality, as you can also tell by how close airplane seats are. Most Americans are longer or taller than they used to be. So this is the kind of information that will drive future rulemaking in design of aircraft.
And how close, let me just ask you, how close are we to having this happen?
Yeah, so it could happen quite quickly, based on the preference of the airline. So the way that this happens is the airlines has three ways of calculating their weight balance. A standard weight criteria, which we know is now not correct. One is through an ongoing survey, and this is what we're just talking about. And the third is to weigh every passenger going on. The objective here is to get a sample every 36 months, update that sample, and understand not only generally, but on the flight path. So the passenger makeup from point A to point B is going to be different than X to Y. So that kind of information will actually increase safety at some point. The challenge is communicating this all to the public, and managing the pushback or emotions related to it.
Michael Dreikorn, Principal Partner, Aviation Security at ASD Experts, formerly served as Deputy Manager in the Airworthiness Division of the FAA.
This is going to weigh heavily on some people.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, if you're trying to buy a new car, I couldn't resist.